I'm here this evening to talk to you about my new book, The Sign on My Father's House. It recently won the NL Reads competition, and it was selected by 1,300 Newfoundland readers by the public libraries as the must-read book in Newfoundland for 2020, which makes me very happy because, as many of you know, a lot of work to writing a book, and I'm delighted that people are reading it. Also, it won the Margaret Dooley Award for Fiction this year. Some of you may know Margaret Dooley was a well-known Newfoundland writer, perhaps the pioneer in Newfoundland fiction. Her first book was called The Eye of the Gull. It came out in 1936. Also, another pioneer in Newfoundland fiction was Percy James, who wrote The House of Hate, for any of you with a background in literature. As I have a great enthusiasm for it myself, and a number of writers are interested in hearing what I got to say about it. Because Margaret Dooley and Percy James both have awards named after them, and I'm the only person who's won both of them. So today I'd like to talk with you, as I say, tell you a little bit about my book, do a reading from the book, and afterwards there will be, hopefully anyone who's interested, a question and answer, or someone will get it on Facebook and have a few comments to make about the book. The book is set in Newfoundland, but it's not really set at the time of Confederation. That's always an illusion. It's about a young man who moves from rural Newfoundland to the city, as many of us did, perhaps to go to university or what have you. But it's about finding it's his story. He moves to the city, falls in love, gets his heart broken, and it's about his relationship with his father, which is a big part of the book. His father is a source of all conflict. He's a very decent, honest, honourable man, but very opinionated. And he puts a big sign up on his house telling everybody how he hates Joe Smallwood, which is fine, except that everybody else in the community loves Joe Smallwood. So there's your conflict. And there's a contrast between the young man who can't make up his mind about anything and his father who's dead on exactly what he knows and what he wants all the time. So there's a bit of it about the two of them and their relationship, about his life. But it's about identity and finding yourself, finding your own identity. So you put the sign up on your house, or you wear the sign on your cap, or on your heart, or on your sleeve, or on your neck, that type of a thing, where you find your identity. Felix, the main character, is searching for his identity throughout the book. His father, by contrast, has no problem doing that. The book has 15 signs throughout, and each sign is a signal, a totem of a character who's trying to find his own identity, or who has found it, or a direction that they're going to take. For instance, White's Store, Portabass's The Last Stop Cafe, Dirty Dick's Tavern, and other such signs. They have a role to play in the evolution of the plot. So it's about a young man finding his identity, but it's also about a people trying to find their identity, because Newfoundland had joined Canada just prior to this. And some people loved Joe Smallwood and his bringing us into Canada, like Moses into the Promised Land, and other people hated the idea of us having given up our nationhood, essentially, because we were a separate dominion with our own stamps, our own currency. We were a country then, and after 49 we were a province of Canada. And many of us have come to love the country Canada, and some have not. So it's about a search for identity for a people too. So what I'd like to do now, if I could, is read a bit to you, introduce you to a couple of characters, and I'll give you an idea of the tone of the book and I guess the direction that I've taken in it. This part is about Felix before he leaves Curlew, the little town he's in. Before he leaves rural Newfoundland to go off to the city, it's about him. He had a job cleaning up a store owned by the one proprietor in the town. White's General Store. And you'll meet Clara White now. Now remember, the town is in turmoil. Everybody hates his father. He's got a big sign up on the house saying how much he hates Joe Smallwood. And every morning he comes out and he cleans the eggs and rotten tomatoes and bad stuff off it with a happy heart, because he's that kind of fellow. But Felix assumes that everybody in the town hates his father's sign too. Later that morning, I ran over to White's shop, where I helped out to earn pocket money. It was the only shop in Curlew. We used to buy everything there before the supermarket opened up in Shipley. The Whites liked me because I was quiet and I did my work without comment. I walked under the big sign, White's General Store, to find Clara at the counter. She looked up and grunted. She must have been in a good mood. "Heard you had visitors today," she remarked. You see, the police had been there about the sign. "Heard you had visitors today," she remarked as she wrapped a pound of sliced bologna in wax paper. No question was asked, so I offered no answer. I always began sweeping the shop before the customers arrived. After that, I would restock the shelves and then sweep out the storeroom. When I came back and began sweeping the main shop, Clara said, "I guess it was about the sign your father nailed to the house." I stopped my sweeping. "Bound to cause concern," she explained, in the half-indulgent, muttering way old people get away with. My broom was still. One bad word about father, and that broom was going across the floor, and I was going home. She could do her own friggin' sweeping. "Your father never..." Then our eyes met. Boom. She saw the fire. She laid down her bologna. "Come here," she said. She beckoned me with a bony finger. I put my broom flat on the floor and joined her behind the counter. It was like center stage in a theater, and I was a backstage person at best. She took my arm in her mummified old claw and led me to the big front window. "See that new paved road, Felix? See that road?" She pointed. "Joe Smallwood put that road there. Look at it." I looked and saw the black tarmac running through our community like a bright new scar. Her grip tightened on my arm. "See the new cars on it? Do you know where they're going? They're going to goddamn Shipley to buy groceries. That's where they're going." Her lips snarled back over yellow teeth. "Do you have any idea what that road did to our business? Destroyed it. Killed poor Wayne. We used to have a business here, Felix." She let go of me and raised her arms in the air, indicating the shop around her. I stepped back. "We were a general dealer, not a grocer. We sold people everything they needed to live, boy. From the bed they were born in to the board for the box they were buried in. They brought their Christmas gifts here. They clothed their children here. We even sold books. Books, Felix. Not to speak of tons of coal, canvas for their floors, felt for their roofs. Some of them never paid us. Never will." She paused and sighed. All that ended because of Joey's road. It took them to the supermarket in Shipley. They took their money with them. They only came here when they wanted to charge it. Wayne would stand here and watch the cars headed for Shipley. He'd look over this counter at the empty store and he'd cry. I saw that big man cry, Felix. Her frail body leaned back against the wall. Her arms stretched out as if she were being crucified to the shelves of shaving lotion and hairspray. Then she came down from her cross and hunched closer to me. I could smell her lilac bath oil. Her thin grin suggested another terrible secret. She glanced out the window and around the empty shop, then put her mummified arm around my neck and whispered, "Do you know what Wayne's last words were?" I surely did not, but continued to stare at her. "God damn Joey Smallwood," were the last words that passed his lips. He said them to me many times before. Her eyebrows rose, and she looked quickly around the shop again. All our customers were liberals, and Wayne knew they wouldn't shop here at all if they heard him say such a thing. He never spoke up, but those were the last words on this earth he spoke. A can of hairspray fell behind her with a tinny clang and rolled across the floor. She recovered herself and pronounced her next words very clearly. "I hope your father never takes it down." Silence filled the shop. A car drove past on Joey's pavement. Then even that sound faded away as Clara looked off into space. "Now," she said, "finish your sweeping." Amen. Well, that'll give you an idea of the situation in the town that his father and he essentially are facing. And it'll give you an idea of the politics of the place and the character of the most essential, Clara White. Sam, I was worried there for a minute, buddy. Sam never broke a sweat. I don't think he's into this tonight. All he wants is poetry. Comments. Agnes Fury. Hi, Agnes. Alfred Parks. Good, Alfred. Good to hear from you. Yes, next time you're in Newfoundland, buddy. Nice painting over your head, too. Pamela, my girlfriend. She's a really good artist. She won the Arts and Letters competition this year. Painting. Yeah. How do you get the book? Well, that's a good question. I'm so glad you asked me that. How do you get the book? If you want to buy a copy of this book, all the bookstores are closed, as you know, for this COVID-19 virus. It's best for half us wrong with Sam tonight. So you can get my book at Costco, which is still open, sells books. You can get my book at Amazon.ca, also for your electronic books, as an ebook, Kindle and things like that. Or you can get it from my publisher, flankerpress.com. It's available there as well. So I do this now every Wednesday night. I'll do a reading from the book and talk to you about Newfoundland writers and of the past. Well, we worked our way up to Percy James. That was 1970. Talk about Newfoundland writing, which means a lot to me. Newfoundland books. And I'll do a reading from my work, my book. Last week I did a poem, Ode to a Housefly, for anyone was here. And that's what I plan to do now with the next week or so. Sorry, next number of weeks. 6 weeks we got her down for. How long did it take you to write the book? Well, that's a good question. I'd say the actual putting the words on the paper, 2 years, but writing of this book was a lifetime. This was a lifetime of experience and growing up in Newfoundland and dealing with people that I knew in rural Newfoundland and certain members of my family who shall be nameless. They had energy and determination, and I can use the word contrariness perhaps, in the kindest sense possible. So it took me a couple of years for sure. So glad to have people reading it. And there you go. How's the sequel coming along, Tom? Sequel's coming along real good. The sequel is called Stolen Land. The Stolen Land. And it takes Felix along good ways. First draft is just about done. How did it feel to be the winner of the NL Reads Award for 2020? I felt really good. I mean, there are awards that are adjudicated by judges, which is very nice and it's good, wonderful. But this award was adjudicated by 1,300 readers of the books. And they had a lot of books in Newfoundland this year to choose from. And they picked mine. So that was a true delight. And I got a lot of emails from people who read it. And I got the same reaction to it. And, there are a lot of people writing books these days. In Newfoundland, we've got a veritable cornucopia of books to pick from. A plethora. We had shelves when the bookstores are open. And a lot of really good quality work.